record on this computer. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining the Coach's Spot. I'm here with Anthony. I actually taped this show earlier today with just me, and I was like, oh, wait, no, they want me and Anthony. So I am your host, Jason T. Powell, and I'm here with Anthony,
the co-host. I ain't gonna call myself a king today because we're doing Coach's Spot, and I'm not a king at coaching.
Yeah.
So,
different show,
but
different show.
I am pretty good. You know what I mean?
That's Anthony DeBrule.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know. So hey, we got some feedback. We got some feedback on the show. God, this is so much better with you, bro. So much better with you. I did this by myself earlier. It sucked. It's already better.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't think so because I saw a couple of your friends or people share the Coach's Spot, and it was the one that was just you, and I was like, oh damn, I suck.
No, not at all, bro. It's so much easier with you here. I love having you here. And people, we do other podcasts together, and people are always like, why don't you ever let Anthony talk? I'm like, I let Anthony talk as much as Anthony wants to talk.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And you talk on this show a lot more than you talk on our other shows.
Yeah, it's more familiar for me though. Bro. Yeah.
This is your expertise. So anyway, I guess before we start, like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff, guys.
Share.
The really cool thing is I want to say hi to all the people that are listening overseas.
Yeah.
We get a lot. This show has the most foreign listeners, like New Zealand, Singapore. I think Chile was on there. What's up, Chile?
Yeah. New Zealand, what's up?
I know, that's so cool. Australia was on there. Too. By the way, hello to all my Australian friends. Yes, it is the same Jason last year when you went to the Texas Dreams meet. What's the Texas Dreams meet name?
Texas Prime.
So Texas Prime, all you Australians that were there last year, because the whole Australia, there were so many Australians there. And
no, I was there.
I know. And I made them say Coach Jason in their accent. It sounded great. They're like, oh, hey, Coach Jason. So
hey, some of them did a good American accent, by the way.
They did. And they said my Australian accent wasn't too bad, but they were so cool. Yeah, and they were so like, it was funny because they asked me if our athletes call us coach. And I'm like, yeah, they call us coach. I'm Coach Jason. And they're like, oh, we don't do that in Australia. It's just like, hey, David. Like they don't call him coach. So it's weird. It's funny how different countries, different things. Yeah. What I wanted to, but yeah, like, subscribe, share. Thank you for making Coach's Spot popular. It's every episode does about the same amount of listens. It's awesome. It's growing. Mm-hmm. So it's growing pretty steadily. I didn't think that it would do as well as it's doing. So thank you, everybody. And for people that have commented and emailed me and DM'd me and IM'd me and messengered me, I want to say thanks because the feedback really, really helps. And it's awesome. So with that, I've had some questions about, and Anthony, I'm going to let you talk to this too, because I didn't discuss this with Anthony before we jumped on the show. So everything you're going to hear is totally impromptu.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of questions about how to get to the next level of coaching, how to make their athletes next level, not just in gymnastics and any coaching, obviously, and for them to get their coaching skills to the next level. Because let's face it, Bill Belichick isn't listening to the Coach's Spot, right? No. He already knows how to cheat, so he doesn't he doesn't need our help.
Yeah.
But so those guys, obviously those elite level football, baseball, soccer, they don't care. They're so good. They don't care what we got to say. But we do have a lot of mid-level coaches that listen, and a lot of them have asked, how do they get to that next level? Whether it be, and I'm not just talking about gymnastics, I'm talking about every level, to get to that next level. I kind of wish we had Will on the show because he's coached at so many different levels and so many different sports that
Yeah.
it would nice to have his opinion. But anyway, so that's the main question I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of thank yous. People are saying that they're hearing valuable things that are helping them with their coaching, which is awesome. But the other thing I'm hearing is, how do I get to the next level?
So
how do I get there?
that is one of my favorite questions.
Cool.
I swear to you, it's one that I've had thought a lot about. It's one that I still question to this day. But I remember when I first got to the gym that I'm at now, I asked that same question to the top dog that was at the gym.
Yeah.
And he's like, what time you're gonna figure it out? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But my conclusion is this: if you want to take yourself to that next level, it's constant self-evaluation. Okay. Every year. Mm-hmm. Did I do as good as I did last year? If so, what do I need to be doing better? And how do I come across that? And that is the hardest thing to do, because that's grabbing that ego of yours and asking everybody questions, even if you think, or, because, I asked a million questions and I fought a lot of people back and forth because they were just like, oh, see, he doesn't know what he's doing. See, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm like, no, I do. But I ask questions because I want to know.
Right.
And I'm talking about, I'm not asking questions to the top guy in the gym. I'm not asking questions to the top guy at the meet. I'm asking questions from the lowest,
right,
first, because at the top, they're going to give me the same spiel that nobody really kind of wants. When you're up there, you don't want somebody up with you.
Right.
But when you get down to those lower levels, and I'll tell you, the hardest level that I've ever coached was level 2. I'm telling you,
for those of you that don't know, that's beginner.
Yes. Teaching kids that are about 4, 5 years old, teaching them serious gymnastics. That was the hardest thing I could have done in my coaching career, is to make them, trying to get them to be serious about it and understand the value of what they were doing, because it's almost impossible and it takes a lot of patience. So the next thing is patience, 100%, because you're going to have some kids that, like, for instance, I have a kid right now that she hears me, but she wants to do it so bad, she just goes. And it's so frustrating because she's so talented, but she's just, that's the way she is. And I'm starting to get her in her mind to slow down and stop and listen and do the boring technique stuff.
Right.
And it's starting to work. So the next one is patience with yourself and your kids. And my last one, I guess, that has taken me to my next level. And when people ask me all the time, because I'll tell you this, there's nothing that you're doing in the gym that I'm probably not doing the same or saying the same thing. Like, there's nothing golden coming out of my lips. It's all my kids understand that I'm there for all of them. Even my weakest ones, they'll tell you, no, he gives just as much attention and things like that. So when the kids see that, they work really hard for me, because I tell them all the time, once we start getting in a rut, I'll be like, oh man, we're slacking it. I just got to do a better job. And the minute they hear me say something like that, they're like, no, it's not you, it's us. And then they have that eager to want to do a little bit more.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not doing it to make them like feel bad, but it's in a way to where they go, no, I want to step up for my coach. But I don't point the finger at them all the time. I point it at myself. And that's when they realize, no, I got to be better. And they start to do better. So that's what I do.
It's ownership.
Yeah.
It's all great coaches, leaders, mentors have that in common, is that they take ownership. You touched on a few things there that are really important. And I think we need to I think we need to, so if your main goal is to make your athletes better, so you want to make the athletes better, you want to make the athletes better, make the program better, make everything better. I think the first thing you have to do, or the main thing you have to do, and this is coaching at any sport, any level, but if you're coaching already at a pretty high level, so say you're coaching high school, you're coaching a good high school, or even if it's not good, if it's a terrible high school, it's the same thing that you got to do. So say you're coaching baseball, you're coaching football, you're coaching cross country. I don't care. I don't care if you're coaching gymnastics. The first thing you have to do if you want your program to be better is make wherever you're getting your kids from, city programs, neighborhood programs, rec programs, wherever you're getting your kids from, you're getting your athletes from, you have to make those coaches better. If you want to get to the highest level, if you want to be Texas State football champion, you want to be Texas baseball state champion, anything, any sport, you have to make your feeder programs better. So if you're in whatever city you're in, you have to do clinics, you have to do camps, you have to do things, you have to make it free. You have to give them information. You have to get those coaches that are coaching those lower levels, get their emails, get any way that you can talk to them, make yourself accessible to them, do all those things to make them better. And your life becomes significantly easier and more competitive quickly. I mean, within a few years. And that few years seems like a long time. There's no magic pill to make a great program. I've said this before. Terry Walker, who was my mentor and who is still one of the best coaches I've ever worked around, pulled me aside when I first started coaching because he knew how desperately I wanted my athletes to do well for them, not to make us look great, but just because they wanted to be great. And he pulls me aside and he's like, Jason, do you want to know the secret to making them great athletes? I'm like, yeah, I want to know the secret. He goes, you can't tell anybody. I'm like, well, it's not like I have a podcast. Why would I tell somebody? He pulls me aside. He goes, it's a secret. You can't just give this out to anybody. I'm like, okay. What is it? You know, and he's like, he leans in real close and he whispers, hard work. I'm like, yeah, I knew that. I don't want to hear hard work, but that's where the work comes in. If you want, because look, man, what we do for a living, we're blessed. Whether you're football, baseball, basketball, cross country, whatever sport you love, and you get to coach it, you're blessed. Mm-hmm. Stop telling everybody how hard your job is, everything else. You know you love your job. You know you're blessed that you get to do this job. So, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people wish they were coaching and they can't. They can't afford it because you ain't going to get rich. They can't afford the time because they have families and everything else. Because you know there's a lot of time you ain't on the clock that you're on the clock. And we're better than teachers. I know teachers that are also coaches are like, what's the best part of your day? Come on. It's when you're coaching. You know it. You know it. I used to always joke, this is a joke. I love everybody who's listening. If you're a teacher, you are a special, special person. It's just a joke. I always say, teachers have degrees, coaches have talent. So I love you, teachers. And teachers that are teachers and coaches, come on. You have a blessed life.
And don't worry, you guys you all can do better math than I can. So there, you have that.
But that's it. If you want to get to the next, if you want your program to get to the next level, that's how you do it. To write it down, start doing it. Talk to the coaches that are coaching these rec leagues, city leagues, all these other leagues that you're getting kids from. Bam. If you're in a gymnastics program and you're a high level coach and you're not setting time aside to do clinics with your lower level coaches, that's why your job's so hard. Give to those coaches. Give to those coaches that are willing to learn. Because there are coaches that are willing to learn. I work with some right now. And anytime I'm like, hey, is it cool if can I give you a drill for that? They're, oh, please. If I put a clinic together right now if we weren't in season, because we're in season right now, I'm gone every single weekend. If we were, if you want to rob my house, be careful. But I'm gone every single weekend. When this is over and summer comes along, because that's about when May is when our season ends. I'm going to I'll put together a monthly clinic and be like, if you want to come to it, come to it. If you don't want to come to it, don't come to it. And here's the thing. If you do that on a citywide, say you're in a high school program or something, you do that on a citywide, your first clinic or your first meeting or whatever you want to call it, your first skills training, call it a skills training, might only have 2 people there, might only have 1 person there. If you have 1 person there, that's 1 more than you had before that. Give them everything you have. Be thankful there's only 1 person there, and you can take them under your wing and you can teach them twice as much as you could teach them if there was 6 people there, and teach them. And if you're learning from that person, if you're a low-level coach and a higher-level coach is giving you this opportunity, drop the ego and don't say, I know. Say, yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. What else can you teach me? That's what you do. If you want to become a better coach, that's what you do.
Well, that's what, like I said, I came across with a lot of people. Of course, I'd be asking a lot of questions that I already know the answers to. Yeah. But they would sit there and talk to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And that's why I say I can't run into the problem with like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, no, I know what I'm asking. I just need to reinforce what I'm doing.
Right.
Make sure. Okay. Yeah. So most people do this, blah, blah, blah. But what I forgot to add in there too, what I would do too, and I haven't done this in a while because I gave a good friend all my material, but I used to write down in a notebook every year, every level, what I was doing with them.
Yeah.
And then when I ran into a problem, I would write the problem down and how I solved it, or if I solved it. So that way, the next year when I run into things, I go back into the book and I go, oh, this is what I did, right. Blah, blah. And there were some times that I went back and I'm like, dang, I hadn't done this in years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do that. I go over I have all my old workouts everywhere because I still do, but I write everything down.
Yeah.
And I type it out. I'll type it out. Oh, sorry. It's late here. I type it out. I do all that stuff. And I go back and I look at them and I'm like, why did I stop doing that? Why did I stop doing that? I also wrote down requirements. Here's another thing. Oh, first, if you want to make your program better, that's how you do it. That's to make your athletes in your program better. You go back and you train the coaches below you. You do clinics, you do camps, you do all those things. You have to do that. You get their emails, you send them drills, you send them stuff on YouTube. You are constant with that because the coaches that really want to learn and get better will soak that up like a sponge. The coaches that aren't going to be there very long, will be gone anyway. So who cares? Right? So that's to make your program better. Now, to make you better as a coach, to go to the next level of coaching, whatever level that is. If you're in middle school now, if you're coaching middle school now and you want to coach high school, if you're in high school now, you want to coach college, you have to build those relationships with coaches better than you also, right? Yep. So you have to find coaches whose programs have things you want to emulate and reach out to those coaches. You will be very surprised at how many of those coaches will share with you. Mm-hmm. You will be very surprised. They will. And you're building a relationship with that coach. So if you're a high school coach, you want to get better and you build a relationship with this college coach, and then he hears of somebody that needs somebody for a staff, you're up for that job because you've built that relationship and he knows he's taught you what he knows and he knows you emulate him. And he's like, oh, do you need your defense to be like this? Bam, this guy's for you. I got this guy. He's in high school right now. He'd be great. He'd be a great addition. You know what I mean? And that's how you should get give him a shot. Yeah, give him a shot. And so you have to do that. You have to find what you do. This is what I did. I went out and found athletes who emulated and then tried to emulate what they were doing by contacting their coaches. I went out and saw programs that were doing things I wanted to do as a program, and I contacted those coaches. And all of them gave me something. So, and then I saw programs that acted a certain way, did certain things, and we started doing those things. And so if you want to get better as a coach, you have to do that. You have to find programs that are doing what you want to do. If you're a defensive coordinator and you want to have great tackling and you know a team that just smashes people, get in contact with that coach. If you can't get in contact with that coach, get in contact with a coach that coached with that coach. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to go out and do the work, though. If you're talking about getting to an elite level of anything, there's work involved. Get over it. And that's where the hard work story comes in play. The hard work is going to come in. Just the hard work isn't done for the 3 hours you're with your athletes. It is done there, obviously, but the really hard work is done when your athletes ain't around. That's when the really hard work is done. That's when the really grimy work that you might not want to do happens. That's when the nitty gritty of it, right? So that's how you get better as a coach. Now, if you're in a program, you're satisfied where things are, you're already doing clinics with your lower levels, right? You're with your lower level coaches. Say you're doing a lot of things you and I both have already said, you pretty much goal setting is very important. Self-evaluation, very important. All these things, you're already doing these things. You're like, Jason, Anthony, we already know. And you still aren't getting to great. It's because you haven't picked your thing, right? You haven't picked that one thing you do better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, and I think Anthony agrees with this. Anthony and I both are known for specific things in the coaching industries, right? When I walk in,
yep.
People instantly come to me and ask me about specific things. And Anthony probably knows what it is. It's specific things. And how do I accomplish that?
Yeah, because I did.
What?
Because I did. I went, listen, I know you think I'm good, but I need you to give me your workout right now.
Well, and what did I do? I sent it to you, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't, here's the thing. And people have kind of lost this since I first started coaching. When I first started coaching, Woga was getting real big. Woga had just gotten here. Everybody was terrified of them. Everybody was like, Woga, 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 Woga. Kurt Thomas had just gotten here. All this stuff, all these things in this region were getting kind of crazy. There were some great athletes coming out of different gyms. Mm-hmm. And it made everybody better. And all of a sudden, Texas became about getting the best that Texas could be. And then that turned into Region 3 being the best region they can be. So it started with just your athletes. You want to make them the best they can be. And then it became making your whole gym the best they could be, because maybe you're at a gym where there were a bunch of coaches coaching their own groups. Well, now you want to make all those coaches better because you wanted the whole gym to be better. And then all of a sudden that became your district, and then that became your state, and then that became your region. And it was all about it's gone away from that, by the way. It's not like that anymore. It's gotten very one-dimensional, like it used to be, where people are just like, no, it's just about my gym. You can't do that. No one's going to improve that way. So I would like it to get back to that, where Texas takes pride in that. But back to my point is that Anthony and I pick things that, and in this society, this is we've been sold something that isn't true. And the problem is it's leaked into every aspect of our lives. And as a coach, you can't have this. You have to have things that are not like this. And this is what it is. You've been sold that the secret to life, the secret to being a good human being, the secret to all that is compromise. Not in coaching.
Nope.
Just like when people say, well, a good marriage is all about compromise. No, a good marriage is about finding somebody who has your belief system and believes in you and believes in your dreams and knows there's things you won't compromise on.. That's where the real secret is. In coaching, You have to have things you do not compromise on.
Mm.
I have things I will not compromise on. It's done this way. This is where it goes. This is how we do it. Bam.
Yes.
If you want to do it at your gym, that's fine. I have no problem beating you. I don't have a problem with that. So
Well,
don't
and some
do it that
things
way.
work for some coaches, and some people
And
really. But you got
absolutely.
to remember,
Absolutely.
there's something that you're really, really, really good at, and that's what basically we're kind of talking about. I was just thinking this before you even said it. I was like, you got to remember, when push comes to shove, you have to stand your ground in your beliefs, especially on certain things. And me and Jason have talked about it. He knows where I'm at, where I'm with certain levels and things like that. I just go, nope, that's why I don't care. But I do want to touch on too, dealing with outside distractions when you're coaching. I've been running into this for the past 3 days.
Right into it. What are you talking about? We've been running into it the last year.
Well, I'm talking about
COVID's been the biggest distraction.
Well, I'm talking about like we're going in this season.
Yeah.
You'll have disgruntled parents.
Yeah.
This. So my biggest suggestion to you is you can only contact me during work hours. After that, when you get home, that phone does not come on. I'll tell you, my wife screamed at me the other day because I was on the phone with a disgruntled parent. Yeah. And it wasn't bad or anything, but she had me on the phone for 45 minutes. And my wife walks in and goes, how disrespectful of that woman to call you and keep you away when you get very minimal hours with your family. And remember, guys, especially those of you that coach, you get very little time. You need to spend that time with them. You know what I mean? Because when you start to think,
unless you are lucky enough to coach in only a homeschool program where you're done at noon, which is very seldom, because you have programs that need you. So a lot of times, yesterday I was at the gym from 7 to 8, and I don't mean 7 in the morning until 8 in the morning. I got there at 6:45, rolled out of there at 8:00 at PM, which, some people are like, so what? That's 13 hours. Who cares? 13 hours of coaching is a lot of coaching, and it's really mentally draining. I slept so well last night. My head hit the pillow and I was like, with everything going on in the world. But yeah, there's things I won't answer texts on Sundays. If I get texts from parents on Sundays, if it's not a meet day.
Well, but you know what?
I'm not doing it.
The point was because now this is starting to get into where I'm not too focused on how to get my kids finished polishing them up, because now I'm like, well, this is going on with this parent, and what am I going to do with this parent? And this parent wants me to do this. So I finally today said no.
Yeah.
They looked at me like, what? I went, again, this is my team. This is how I do things, and this is how it's going to go. That's it.
It's funny.
And then once I was done, I got my kids, and I'm telling you, I had a successful practice. I felt like weights were lifted off my shoulders. Yeah. Do not cater to other people's needs.
Well, no, because you're going to have to cater to everyone's. Because once you cater to a few, you got to cater to the whole, and everybody's going to have different needs. And here, it's funny. Early in my career, not even early, it was middle of my career, I think. I had an athlete that was going elite in the Hopes program, going elite. And, we never saw eye to eye. I wouldn't say, me and her parents didn't always see eye to eye. Me and the athlete didn't always see eye to eye. And she just got up and quit. Finally just got up and quit. And at the time, my business partner and ex-wife actually was complaining to another coaching friend of mine that, why couldn't he just change his coaching style for her? That was our best athlete. Why, blah, 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 blah. And why can't he just change his coaching style? Blah, blah, blah. And my coaching friend was like, how about you just go out and find athletes that fit his coaching style? Because I do change my coaching style for different kids. We've talked about this. There's kids that want you to be hard on them. There's kids but I will never be a tyrant when I coach. I'm never going to be a screamer when I coach. It's just not my personality. And so it's not going to happen. I'm not that kind of guy. I have a coaching system, and here it is. And I have a discipline system, and here it is. And I discipline very quietly, and I praise very loudly. It's that simple. The funny thing is, there's people that don't fit into that. There's people that want you to scream and yell, and there's people that want you, and that those athletes aren't for me. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
There's nothing wrong with people not fitting into your program, no matter how talented they are. You might not be the coach for them, and that's okay. That's okay. But if you have things in your program that you pick the things you're going to be great at, be it tackling, hitting, fielding, whatever, in whatever sport, whatever you pick that you're going to be great at, and then you build off of that into other sections of your team, but you never compromise on that foundation, that nucleus, and you keep it the way it is. And then you build everything off of that. And what you'll find is everything else gets better, because say we had Gator on, Chad Haig, and Gator was talking about it, where he's like, fielding, 100% fielding is where he spends most of his practices on in baseball, is fielding. And he goes, and miraculously your batting gets better because there's no pressure on your fielding. When there's no pressure on your fielding, and you know you're going to hold everybody to 1 or 2 points, your bats loosen up because there's no pressure on the bats. The bats know they only have to hit. If they hit 3 home runs, we win, because we know our fielding is going to hold them to 2. So everything else gets better. And so there's certain things I pick. When I first started coaching, the basis of my program was, we will not be outworked. When we walk into a gym to compete, nobody's ever going to say, man, Coach Jason's girls look out of shape. Not going to happen unless I've only been there a week. It's not going to happen. When we walk in, people are going to be like, whoo, they look ready to go. And it happened all the time. My friends would come over and be like, bro, is this a bodybuilding competition or gymnastics competition? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, we're not going to be out of shape. And then my girls started taking pride in that. We went to way back when I first started coaching, my first head coaching job. I stepped down. Terry Walker walked in, or came in as head coach. And that was our thing. No one was going to outwork us. No one was going to be in better shape than us. And we had an end of the year party at a beach club in Stonebridge Ranch, McKinney, Texas. It's at this beach club, and a lot of select soccer and stuff like that also had parties there. And we would have our end of the year party there. And so, all my girls are there, all my athletes are there, running around in their bikinis and everything else. And a mom walks up to Terry and I, and it's like, can I ask you a question? And we're like, sure. She's like, are you guys coaches? And we're like, yeah. And she goes, what do your athletes do? And we're like, oh, they're gymnasts. And they're like, the lady goes, oh, thank God, because we're select soccer and I don't want to play those girls. Because they were just so ripped. They were ripped up and 6-packs, and they're just ripped. And that was our thing. No one was going to outshape us. No one was going to be in better shape than us, because, hey, legs feed the wolf, man. Legs feed the wolf. And if you're tired and you're out of shape or you're not strong, you're not performing at your best. So that was our thing. And everything built off of that. Later on, it changed a little bit, but it still stayed the nucleus of what my programs were. And
nucleus.
And that's just how it's always stayed. I've gotten away from that a little bit. Now it's other things a little bit more, but that foundation that I build stuff upon has pretty much stayed the same. And
I'm not giving my secrets away yet. You have to contact me for those.
Got to, my precious.
But when you type the question, make sure it's like in a soft sounding voice.
You're such a weirdo.
I'm just kidding.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's bottom line. You want to go from good to great, Those are the things you have to do. That's what you have to do to be good to great for coaching, good to great for your program.
I hope this helped.
Is you pick. Yeah. That's already 35 minutes, bro. You pick your nucleus. You pick what you're not going to compromise on. And then you stick to it. And you're going to lose. You might lose an athlete over it. You may, but what you're going to find is 95% of them buy into it. And once those kids buy into that coaching system and buy into what you're doing, and then the other coaches buy into it, you will be surprised at how far you can go.
Well, and then when you start winning, you're going to have floodgates at your door.
Yeah. Yeah. You might lose one kid over not compromising, but you're going to gain 10. And you're going to be turning kids away or athletes away. But that's how you get from good to great, man. And if you want more specific, we can get more specific. But that's even now, that's, I'm at a new gym now. And yeah, it's a slow process, but there's athletes buying into it already. And the funny thing is, usually the better the athlete, the quicker they buy into the program, because they recognize that it's going to make them better. Speaking of that, yeah, we got to meet this weekend. You have a meet this weekend too. Not at the same place though.
First one.
Yeah. First one for me too. So we had an in-house, but that doesn't count. So I was talking to Will, and I was telling him I was going to Houston. He's like, "Why are you going to Houston?" I'm like, "I have a meet, bro." And he's like, "Oh, at least it's a good reason." Yeah, we have the Biles this weekend, so maybe I'll see Simone.
I got Texas Prime.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
You know, right there, they got good food there. God, everybody knows that.
Right there, and cream soda.
And they got
cream
the
soda and root beer.
Root beer. Man, it's to die for. Let me tell you, spend $20, you get a cup, you get to refill it all weekend.
Right there, get it, Texas Prime. You gotta talk like this when you do Texas Prime.
Yeah, you do.
Gotta talk like Boomhauer on King of the Hill.
Yeah, dang man, I want to dang man. Is gonna go back and do that drink with you and everything.
Hey.
Man.
Also, yeah, because I'm going to post this tomorrow. So if you're listening to it, say hi to Anthony. If you're at Texas Prime, and if you're at Biles, come find me, man. Anybody. I said man. I meant man or woman.
Don't worry, guys. I sign autographs and take pictures.
Yeah, it's funny when
just look for the fat guy in glasses.
The fat guy in glasses. Yeah, don't do that with me. Look for the guy that's pretty buff but really gray.
He looks like Sean Connery.
I do look like Sean Connery. Look at me. Look at that. I was great in Highlander. I guess it's getting late. We're getting stupid.
Anyway.
But I mean,
end it there.
So to sum up, Anthony, sum up what you said. Hit your main points, your bullet points.
That's the worst, especially when you put me on the spot. I hate when you do that. Anyway, just make sure that you're checking what you did. Just make sure you keep track of what you're doing. If you're progressing, and then reevaluating. Well, what can I be doing to get better? Ask questions to everybody. And when I'm talking about everybody, I mean, even if you look across the gym and you're like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing and what he's talking about, go ask the question, because you never know, it might be genius. I've done it. Yeah, and don't take your work home. Spend time with your family. Get your head out of the gym, so that way when you're back in there, you're more focused. And write things down.
Yeah, you got to hit that flow state.
Oh, and love your kids. Yeah. Let them know, even if they're the worst kid that doesn't belong in the sport, that they're the best. Try to make them feel like they're the best, because when they all see it, it's just like human nature. When you all see something like that, you get behind it. You always get behind a strong boss. Remember, you're that boss.
Yeah. For sure.
So I guess that's my, partake on it. I could be dumb, but I mean, that's what's been working for me, and it may not work for you. So
I think that those are all pretty universal for working. I mean, those aren't things that don't work for people. I think those are things that will work for anybody and at any level. And whether it's rec coaches all the way through, or city program coaches, or all the way through, I think that works for anybody. I mean, or those are things that are universally,
because you said the word rec. I'm going to say this, and there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with me and hate me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you think you're too good for rec, don't ask me how to get better. I'm just telling you. Because I'm just telling you, if you can't take a rec class and teach predominantly, remember, rec has a bunch of kids that are never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you can teach those kids to do something small and keep them happy,
fundamentals,
you can coach any level.
Yeah.
Especially if you can do a preschool class and you can teach little 3-year-olds to stay in line and go from point A to point B without going all crazy and running wild.
Right.
You can coach any level.
Yeah. Well, and you're instilling discipline.
Yeah.
And people hear discipline and they think it's a dirty word. It's not. Just like compromise is kind of a dirty word, because there's things you can compromise on, things that don't matter, that you really don't care about. Compromise on those. The things you care about, do not compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Stand your ground. And no, I probably shouldn't. Oh, I shouldn't tell this story. We're already at 41 minutes, but it happened this weekend. I probably shouldn't tell the story anyway. It happened this weekend. I was on. I'm at a new gym, and I'm floating. What? I'm going to tell it anyway. I'm floating all over the place. Right. I'm floating to all different team programs, and we have all different team programs here. It's awesome. We have TAF, we have Excel, and we have USAG. USAG obviously is the highest, or they're all different governing bodies, I guess. Excel's part of both. So you have Excel and TAF, and you have Excel and USAG, and then USAG and TAF are two different leagues, I guess you would say, organizing bodies, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, this was a TAF meet. I had Excel girls there. I had different level girls there. It's different than USAG. But I love coaching TAF and Excel. I love it. It's so much fun. And I was on vault. I went over to vault. Some girls threw some questionable vaults and landed short. One of them, it looked particularly bad. And in TAF, if you don't compete all 4 events at least 3 meets, you don't get to go to state. I pulled her to the side. I said, hey, you're not doing that again. Do a different vault. She goes down the runway, gets down to the end of the runway, says she can't run down the runway, that it hurts too bad. I say, no problem. Turn around, scratch her off the event. Doesn't matter. It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. The way she walked back, I would have scratched her. If she told me she could have still vaulted and went back the way she did, I would have scratched her still. So she has other goals anyway. I scratched her. It was a safety issue. Ooh, I got lit up by the head TAF coach. Lit up because I scratched her and now she can't go to TAF state. Lit. Doesn't matter. I don't compromise on athlete safety. I don't compromise.
Safety first.
What?
Safety first. No
Safety
matter
first,
what.
bro. Because I'm going to tell you right now, her not going to TAF state isn't as important as her getting to train for the rest of the season, which she's not going to do with a torn ligament in her ankle. So I'm going the way of safety. I don't compromise. I don't apologize.
Nope.
So boom, there you go. That's how I feel about it. And, there was a lot of talk about it yesterday. There was a lot of stuff going on yesterday about it. And that's just how I am. I'm not going to do it. I care less. Her being able to walk on Monday is more important to me than her going to state. There's always other years. There's other goals. There's other things you got to accomplish. So, boom. That's it. But that's a point of me not compromising.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right, guys. Hope we answered all your questions. Keep them coming in so we have more stuff to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, no kidding. If you want us to get more in depth with what we went over today, because some of it was kind of general, we can get more in depth. Yeah, I can get more in depth on exactly what I do. I break down my seasons into I break down my times of year, and then I break down how much I focus on different things during that time of year. That's how, because we were talking about writing everything down. I write it all the way down to how many minutes I work like floor, for example. If I have an hour on floor, I'll break it down into percentages of how long I do certain things on floor. Back tumbling, front tumbling, leaps, turns, all that stuff. Learning new skills, doing basic skills, learning new skills, adding new drills, all that stuff. I break it down per minute. So I can go over that in depth, whatever you guys want, you tell me. I think that formula would work well for any sport, not just gymnastics. So if you want to learn that stuff, that's cool. I have no problem going over that. I'll get into more depth. I just don't want to bore y'all. So hopefully, I don't think today's show was boring. I thought it was good. It was a lot better than my solo show that I did without Anthony, which I'm just going to delete. So
yeah. Well,
anyway,
you're like, is he coming? He's not coming. And then on last minute, like, I'm coming.
So like, comment, share. Thanks again
Subscribe.
For listening.
Share with your friends.
Please keep the comments, questions, feedback, all that coming. Again, please. Jason at jasontpowell.com or bulldogcoach3 at hotmail.com. Pick one. Ooh, I don't care.
Baby bulldog.
Bulldog coach 3.
Yeah.
At hotmail.com or Jason at jasontpowell.com.
You guys comment, we call each other in excitement, and it could be only one comment. We're like, dude, we got a comment. Did you see it? We're both like, no, tell me, read it.
I know. Even when they're negative, when they're
negative,
I know. Feedback's feedback, man. We take it to heart. Meaning we take the criticism and the constructive, even if it's not constructive, if it's just criticism, we take it to heart. And not meaning that we get upset about it. We don't at all. We take the feedback and we try to build upon it. And that's what we're trying to do, is just make the show better. Yep. So please keep it coming. We love it. It's funny, through this, I found a bunch of other coaching podcasts and stuff that I follow now. I didn't realize there were so many gymnastics ones. I'm kind of glad that we try to go over everything. Like we had Chad on, and we had Will is football, baseball. I'm glad that we have all that. I'm about to have a football coach on. So, and he's a really good football coach. I'm not going to say his name yet, cause I don't want to jinx it. So, we're going to keep it rolling, keep the sports coming. I'm really jazzed that you guys are listening. I'm really jazzed that we keep getting more and more each week. So on this podcast and the Broken Joker. So thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Like, comment, subscribe, keep that feedback coming. So me and Anthony got something to talk about.
Yep. Peace.
See you guys. Bye. Later.